Ninjas were historically called shinobi, which has the meaning of to creep in without anyone noticing. The name was given to those who could sneak into castles and other places. Shinobi were called different names depending on region: Rappa, Suppa, Kusa, Dakko, Kamari, and more. The word ninja, made from the characters of shinobi and person, was created in 1955. Ninjas first appear in historical documents from the Nanbokucho era, 1336 to 1392. It's believed that they originally sprung up in the years between 1201 and 1300, and were originally nobles, priests, and upper-class warriors who were against the manorial system. Female ninjas were often called kunoichi, and have a reputation of being gorgeous and nimble-footed because of TV shows and movies. However, they didn't just brighten up the world of ninjas, but also supported other ninjas from the shadows. Straight men are weak to women's charms, so kunoichi used their womanly assets for that purpose. Some of their strategies included becoming the lovers of their male enemies and using them. The ninjas of Iga, now Mie Prefecture, and Koka, now Shiga Prefecture, are especially famous as the top elite groups of ninjas. Iga ninjas were of the Hatorishi clan. During the Warring States period, they served Tokugawa Ieyasu, led by Hattori Hanzo. Iga ninjas were known for their ninjutsu and combat abilities. On the other hand, Koka ninjas were mostly farmers and merchants who would go where they were directed. Also, Koka was a land of many native medicinal herbs, so they often dressed up as medicine sellers to collect information. Koka ninjas often spied on Tokugawa, on Toyotomi Hideyoshi's orders. Ninjutsu is the art of combat and stealth techniques used to trick and trap others for the purpose of espionage, sabotage, or assassination. When ninjas didn't have missions, they lived the same lives as regular farmers. When they went out on missions, they dressed so that others wouldn't suspect them of being ninjas. According to some records, ninjas had 7 disguises that were made up of the Mukozo, the begging Zen priest of the Fuke sect, the Shuke, a Buddhist priest, the Yamabushi, a Shugendo monk, a merchant, a Hokashi street performer, a Saru Gakushi performer, and their regular ninja outfit. Tonjutsu is part of the ninjutsu and is the art of escape and concealment. Mokuton no Jutsu is the art of hiding in trees, lumber, grass, rice fields, wheat fields, or other areas to fool the enemy. Since they used foliage, it was often called Kusaba Gakure or Shiba Gakure, both phrases that translate to hiding in grass. Hiding from enemies in trees was called Tanuki Gakure, meaning hiding like a raccoon dog, and is another Mokuton technique. Katon no Jutsu is the art of distracting enemies using fire, often to straw or wood. They used gunpowder on arrows or higurumaken to set fires. Depending on the ninja sect, some ninjas were proficient at using gunpowder, so they created ninjutsu techniques around it. Doton no Jutsu is the art of hiding from the enemy by using the terrain like any highs and lows of the ground, depressions, lowlands, or rocks. This also includes hidey holes and secret tunnels. By crawling at night or laying face down, they could press themselves against buildings or in the shades of rocks to hide themselves in techniques called Uzura Kakure no Jutsu, meaning the technique of hiding like a quail. Kinton no Jutsu is the art of using metal to run away, such as scattering money and running away as the enemy is distracted, picking it up. It's also said that by using bells and charms, they would be able to bribe the enemy. Suiton no Jutsu is the art of using water to run away using swimming, diving, or other ways of hiding oneself in water. This also includes the act of throwing or pushing a large boulder into a river to create a huge splash that will distract the enemy as the ninja runs away. According to tradition, people have 5 emotions: joy, anger, grief, pleasure, and fear. Gosha no Jutsu is a type of ninjutsu that uses those emotions to manipulate others. Kisha no Jutsu, the art of flattering and delighting people so they lower their guard and make it easier to make demands of them. Dosha no Jutsu, the art of angering people so they lose their cool, which then creates openings and reveals their weak spots. Aisha no Jutsu, the art of making someone sympathize with you and persuading them with your tears. Rakusha no Jutsu, the art of entertaining someone so that you seize the initiative in your relationship. Kisho no Jutsu, the art of manipulating people by scaring them. One of the most incredible things about ninjas were their unparalleled stealth techniques. The feudal domain of Satsuma was known for being extremely difficult to infiltrate and had extremely vigilant security in place at all times. It was said that the messengers from Satsuma were one-way messengers because spies who dressed up as messengers to infiltrate the shogunate in Satsuma would be killed, never to make their round trip back. However, ninjas who worked directly for the shogunate were able to infiltrate the manor of Shimazu Narioki, the feudal lord of Satsuma, to show the power of the shogunate. Those ninjas were part of a group called the Oniwaban. Ninjas were also assassins, but sometimes they failed. Oda Nobunaga and Takeda Shingen both had attempts on their lives by ninjas. The borders between regions were difficult. There were many huge rocks scattered around, so it was easy for people to hide. The roads were dangerous, so the Oda army could only walk in rows of 1 or 2, making it a perfect place to assassinate Oda Nobunaga. Sugitani Zenjubo, a Koga ninja who practiced his shot by shooting birds, shot at Oda Nobunaga twice, but was only able to graze him. Kujikiri refers to the act of making symbolic gestures with one's hands, along with the appropriate chant to protect oneself. One of the legends of ninjas is that they use this along with their ninjutsu. Rin means power. Hyo or pyo is energy. To means harmony. Sha means healing. Kai is intuition. Jin is awareness. Detsu, dimension. Zai, creation. And Zen means absolute. Ninjas were said to have the power to talk to and manipulate animals. This is your image of ninjas, isn't it? Their head was entirely covered by hoods, and only their eyes could be seen. They wore chainmail that would block blades, and wore black clothing above it to blend in, as well as strong tabi shoes and leggings, as well as wrist and hand coverings. The chainmail that ninjas wore is called kusari katabira. Much like Western chainmail, the chainmail that ninjas used were links of metal woven together to block attacks. However, here's some unfortunate news. It was very heavy, so it wasn't worn very often. It's said that ninjas wore black clothing above chainmail, but why would we believe that? There are 2 legends. One is that black clothing would make blood harder to see. The other one is that performers of bunraku, Japanese puppet theater, wear all black clothing. All black clothing in Japanese art represents invisibility or being difficult to see. So when you think of ninjas, you may think of all black clothing, but most ninjas didn't wear that. They often wore navy or brown hakama, meant to be worn in fields, along with leggings and hand coverings, since it was a very normal outfit at the time. a hitayate that guards the forehead from wounds. It's made by combining a metal plate called hachigane on fabric that is then tied around the forehead. Both ninjas and the Shinsengumi are famous for wearing them. Most of the characters in the hugely popular weekly Shonen Jump manga Naruto wear them, so they're easy to picture. Let's talk about the main weapons used by ninjas: Shuriken, Ninjato, Kusarigama, and Mizugumo. Shuriken have a relatively short range of 19 to 22 feet when thrown by an expert, but in an era when close sword fights were the norm, it was a perfect weapon to keep enough distance between you and your enemy while still being able to attack. Ninja swords were different from normal Japanese swords, in that they weren't made to slice. Ninja swords were more suited to stabbing, and the scabbard itself could also be used to stab an enemy. They didn't pull the sword from the scabbard to stab an enemy. They stabbed them while it was still inside. Also, if the tip of the scabbard was removed, it could be used as a snorkel while underwater, or used as a foothold on a wall to eavesdrop on conversations inside. Also, the sword guard was also made strong so it could be used as a foothold when climbing tall walls. Kusarigama is a type of weapon that links a blade and a weight with a chain. The Kusarigama's characteristic chain and weight allows for distanced attacks before striking with the sickle-like blade. If the enemy tries to get too close, then the Kusarigama can be manipulated like a lasso for an attack. The Mizugumo was attached to the wooden boards on the bottom of Geta sandals. They were said to be used to walk on boats and rivers. In reality, they were about the size of a rubber ring and had a board in the center for the user to straddle, and were kind of like simple boats. Hopefully you've learned a little more about the world of ninjas. If you're more interested, consider reading up more on ninjas and maybe even think about taking a trip to Japan to check out the various ninja spots around the country. I'm sure you'll make some new discoveries. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. This YouTube channel introduces stories of various genres, including shocking news and unsolved cases from around the world, the biography of great people, mysterious stories from Asia, and more, all in the form of comics. You'll find plenty of content that appeals to your intellectual curiosity.